A new massive TNA hiring has been revealed. We're going to talk about that plus a bunch of other topics. It's coming up right here on the Ango Show. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to kick things off talking about CM Punk. This is a very interesting topic to me for obviously a variety of reasons. He just got involved at Clash at the Castle. I obviously feel like we need to talk about his return because, you know, he's still technically injured and some interesting stuff. WrestleVotes reported today that per last week's WWE Raw roster sheet, Punk's return date was slated for the end of July, and he likely won't be cleared in time for July 6th Money in the Bank. With that being said, he should be ready for SummerSlam on August 3rd. Now, with that being said, what's really interesting is CM Punk came out and talked about showing up on SmackDown this week, which I believe is from Chicago. I need CM Punk back on TV regularly. I understand that a lot of people may have not enjoyed the finish to Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre, but if I'm being completely honest with you guys, I feel like that was exceptional booking, exceptional storytelling. I feel like WWE has completely killed it with this storyline. Like, if I'm just being so honest with you guys, I feel like WWE is killing it with this storyline. The expectations that I now have for Drew McIntyre being screwed again, it's incredible. I've come to realize that wrestling fans on social media absolutely love tearing down the idea of WWE not giving you the outcome that you want when you want it. And I think WWE, who just re-signed Drew McIntyre, who has been building up this storyline, which feels so big, so important, and so massive, and CM Punk is not on TV regularly, it's crazy. The thing is, you're not going to get the instant gratification that you're looking for with WWE because WWE is trying to get you to watch. And the best example I can give you of this is if you turn on a series on HBO Max or Netflix and there's 10 episodes, they're not going to tell you everything that you want on episode 1. You're going to have to watch the entire show, every episode, until you get to the finale. Obviously, with WWE, it is a little bit different because WWE runs 50-something weeks out of the year, 52 weeks every year. It's a cycle. But WWE is trying to get you to stay tuned and keep watching. And then eventually, the payoff will be there. CM Punk and Drew McIntyre have done a really good job of building up this storyline where I genuinely just feel that it was the right choice. Now, obviously, CM Punk and his injury, it was a major blow to the company. But this guy has been great when he's on WWE television. I'm enjoying the storyline. I'm not going to be pissy and moaning about the fact that they didn't give the belt to Drew McIntyre. There is other things in line right now. And I got to give props to Damian Priest. He was a hell of a performer in that match. And just everything looked great. And everything from a storytelling perspective was awesome. I genuinely love it. CM Punk should be back soon. I can't wait. Let's turn our attention to Triple H. Some interesting stuff here because a WWE match was being advertised on social media for tonight's WWE Raw. And now the company has maybe changed plans. I don't know. There's a purpose to why I'm talking about this. There's an advertisement for Xavier Woods versus Karrion Kross. Okay. Now the post is completely unavailable. Can't find it. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because this is not the first time that this has happened in recent months. In fact, it's kind of actually happened a little bit more than once, maybe 4 or 5 times that I can remember. I don't want WWE to get into a position where they fall into the same trap that Vince McMahon used to have, which is the fact that WWE under Vince McMahon's regime was constantly making last-minute changes. Right now, it's been reported that AEW is suffering that same fate, where talent are flying out to the venue, finding out that there's nothing for them, and then the following week, the same thing happens, and things are changing last minute. Now, obviously, by changing things last minute, it does prevent leaks, which is something that has been said about AEW and their specific reason for doing it. My point for this, though, is that Triple H has been known to be a long-term planner. This is probably not a big deal, Quite honestly, it's probably not a big deal at all. But the reason why I'm talking about it is because I don't want it to become a big deal. It is just something that I am noticing where matches are being advertised and then they're either being pushed back a week or they're being altered or they're being changed. The same thing actually just happened on the most recent SmackDown last week. I don't want WWE to get to that point where they're advertising stuff and then they're canceling things. Now, obviously, if there's an injury or an illness or something of that magnitude, which is causing a change, we have to be responsible and point that out. As of right now, there's been nothing mentioned of that, but it is very interesting to pay attention to, because if they are just making these changes based on creative, then obviously we know what can happen after that. So again, we want to prevent that. We don't want WWE to get to that point where last minute changes are a constant thing. Time management is important. These are things that we have to acknowledge. I just want to make sure that people understand that it's not the first time that it's happened, and we don't want it to happen again. I want to turn our attention to this new hiring from TNA. This is massive news, and quite honestly, this is some really exciting news because Anthem Sports Group names former WWE executive chief revenue officer. His name is Rob Kligman, and he is the new CRO for Anthem Sports Group, which obviously runs TNA. And this is amazing because Anthony Ciccione, he is the president for Anthem Sports Group. We know that he's running things at TNA. TNA is getting a major focus on them right now. Between Invicta and TNA, Anthem is just really invested in both of them. They've been making a lot of changes behind the scenes. But one of the big things here that we need to discuss is the fact that TNA is ultimately in a position where growth can happen. Whether you like TNA or not, I think you need to acknowledge the fact that it very well could happen, that TNA could actually grow. Part of making that happen requires putting other people with experience in important positions. Now, Invicta, which is an MMA company owned by Anthem, they just got a TV deal with CBS Sports. Keep in mind, one of the biggest things that hurts TNA in today's day and age is their TV deal. By bringing in new people, new faces, new presidents, new executives, I'm hoping that all of these people collectively understand that with TNA and Invicta, in order to grow, they got to get visibility. I think when you bring in somebody who has that experience from WWE, and this happens a lot, TNA and AEW, but when you bring in somebody who has that experience from WWE, you're talking about a well-oiled machine. A well-oiled machine. And you got to also factor in the fact that now WWE is owned by Endeavor, so it's even more well-oiled than before. AEW, TNA, and all these other companies, they need to get to a point where they are bringing in experienced people that can help bridge the gap. And I think for TNA and Anthem, this is such a great move in the sense that they are bringing in experience that knows what it's like to work for a well-oiled machine. And then hopefully they can help bring that to Anthem. I want TNA to succeed. Whether you like TNA or not, I think they're a hell of a product. They just had a great weekend in Chicago. This is even better news. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching The Ango Show.